So, I don't know how many people remember the movie The Princess Bride.
Oh yeah.
It was a classic, funny movie. And just as a reminder, it was a case of Peter Falk was the grandfather who came in and reading to Fred Savage, the grandson, the story of The Princess Bride. And when the little boy wanted him to read the story, he would say, "As you wish." And when he was tired of hearing it, when they got to the kissing part, he said, "I don't want to hear any more, Grandpa." And he said, "As you wish," and he would leave. So "As you wish" was one of those themes. And there was some classic scenes in that movie. One where the Archbishop was standing there with his big hat and his staff. If you may remember this, and he was performing the marriage ceremony of the evil prince to the princess, who fell in love with Wesley on the farm that he worked at, and every time she asked him to do something, he would say, "As you wish." And they fell in love, but they separated and went different ways. And so these are a couple of the scenes that you saw. And then there was a scene with Billy Crystal, who looked like a dwarf with the big ears. He was so funny. And he was the miracle doctor. And when they thought Wesley was dead, they brought him in there and they said, "You know, doctor, is he dead?" And he went up and he checked them all over. He says, "Well, he's mostly dead." "He's not all dead, he's mostly dead." "Yeah, but if he's all dead, forget it. But if he's mostly dead, well," it was that kind of thing. So that's kind of the flavor that I'm using in this. I just wanted to kind of bring you up. So, if you can picture the,
All right.
if you can picture the Archbishop standing there, and he says, "Marriage is love. And love is being married to the same person for 70 years. When Mom and Dad were speaking with the doctor before they get married, the doctor told them they would have no children. Mom said, "You mean I'm infertile?" And the doctor said, "You are mostly infertile. Not all infertile, but mostly infertile. You should get married because you are blave, which means in love." Mom said to Dad, "You don't have to marry me." And Dad said, "Princess Bahakap, I still want to marry you." Princess Bahakap said, "As you wish." And God said, "Just you wait." Later in life, Dad invented and built the high-speed coil winder, and ka-chung, 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 ka-chung. He made a lot of money. But God gave him a high-speed stem winder, and ka-chung, 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 5 kids. And that cost him a lot of money. And I can't turn the page. There we go. So Mom called the priest. "No more kids, Father." And he said, "You must be a good Catholic." Mom said, "I'm not like George Gershwin. I ain't got rhythm." So Dad fought in World War II, and because of that, he was shot through the neck. Because of that, he ended up in Fort Devens, Massachusetts, for recuperation. Because of that, he met Mom Reichardt. And because of that, he married Mom Reichardt. Because of that, he had a daughter, Janice Reichardt. And because of that, I met and married Janice Reichardt. So how many men can stand before you and say, "My father-in-law took a bullet for me"?
Just getting all the people, all the family.
Wow.
Because of that, I ended up marrying Janice.
Pretty clever.
I'm the only man that can say that my father-in-law took a bullet for me. You can read it.
You have some water?
I can never write.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah.
70 years together, you could certainly write a book with all of life's ups and downs. Well, let's just take a look.
No.
After serving in the Army in World War II, Dad having earned a Purple Heart, Mom joined the USO Club in downtown Boston, because she wanted to do her part. Dad was a patient at Fort Devens, thanks, recovering from a wound to the neck. He wasn't a dancer, but went to the club. In his mind, he thought, what the heck? The year was 1945. Mom asked Dad if he wanted to dance. They really weren't supposed to give out their names, but Mom thought she'd take a chance. After the war, Dad went home to Brooklyn. Dedham was where Mom called her home. Traveling by train and their love letters galore. Boy, it's not easy rhyming this poem. They married in July 1946 in Dedham at St. Mary's Church. Took a train to Hyannis to some cute little place and a taxi to finish the search. They had fun on their honeymoon together, but it was time to start settling in. If Dad went to school and Mom got a job, their life would be a win-win. In '48, things were coming together. Dad had enrolled in WPI. Mom had Jan and became a nanny for room and board, and that is no lie. They lived like that for many years, and graduation day did finally arrive. They scrimped and saved for their life together. They both certainly had enough drive. Dad landed a job in Norwood. Then Judy came along in '52. They lived in a project in Dedham for years, then bought a house all brand spanking new. Our Nana lived with us. Then came Steve, Scott, and Joanne. Fun camping, Sunday drives, and the beach. Their motto, the family always comes first. What a lesson, a wonderful lesson to teach. 5 children, 8 grandkids, 9 great-grandchildren too. For some that would be way too many. Not for a woman who was told by her doctor she wasn't supposed to have any. Your loving, caring, and unselfish ways, how you raised us is a very small sample. We've brought up our kids the same loving ways because we all live by your example. So that's happy anniversary. Right?
It's a grandmother's
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Her own house.
Her grandmother's.
Yeah.
She, well, I had cleaned them out financially when I had that cyst on my ovary, when I wasn't supposed to have any children. 20 years I've known that I will never have children.
And now look what you did.
And you're grateful I didn't arrive early.
He said, I don't care. I want you. I don't care about children.
That's how it usually starts.
But I changed my mind after you all arrived.
Like you had a choice.
All this on one ovary.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to censor this.
A good daddy and a good husband. He was like my father. My father was a very nice man.
Mm.
He came to this country when he was 19, and he moved in. He already had 3 brothers here, a bachelor and 2 married. And every time he'd leave a 50 cents in your hand. My sister and I. That was a lot of money back then.
Yeah, imagine.
Think of the penny candy you can buy with it.
I remember 50 cents actually.
Yeah, 50 pieces of candy.
All right.
Yeah.
So, anyway, he married her. He was 20, no, she was 29 and he was 39. So he lived with his sister for 20 years. And then he met my mother at his Lithuanian club. My mother, I give my grandmother credit. She came over here, I don't know who you would know, but she was 29 and my grandfather was 17. But he wanted to,
Yeah.
he would have gone in the Russian army and he didn't want to go in the Russian army. So she had enough money to book passage for the 2 of them. And so at 29, she brought a 17-year-old boy. In those days, you married them, you didn't live with them. And
She had what, 5 kids?
they had all those kids.
Mm.
She had six kids. My uncle, my mother, Pauline, Rose,
Twins that passed away?
twins, and a
Yeah,
single
imagine they both died.
They were, the last ones were twins. Didn't they pass away at a young age?
Yeah,
Or something happened?
so she had all those kids and started at 29.
And the last one was
She
Down
didn't have a
syndrome.
wrinkle
Yeah.
in her face.
Mm.
She used that soap she made.
Lysol.
Homemade soap.
That
Yeah.
homemade
Really?
grandma's soap.
Mm. Yeah.
Even my old socks went into the pot.
She raised chickens, and when my father died, we had to move back home because the house, we went from steam heat, hot water, to the old Colburn Street. No heat, except the big black stove.
No hot water
No
coming out
hot
of the faucet.
water. I worked in an office, and if you were late, you had to wash up with cold water, and
But
you bathed
you had a
once a
phone
week.
in the
It's all you
house.
could afford. You had there were no showers. There's no such thing as a shower, no. But see, that was swank compared to outhouses.
Mm.
Other people had outhouses.
Everything's a step up.
Yeah, and look at what you guys have today.
Mm.
Stuff today.
What do you mean I don't have 5 bathrooms?
What's gonna happen?
The ensuite, and the master bath, and the
Yeah,
ensuite.
what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen in the next 20 years? I don't know. It's hard to imagine.
We'll make
Yeah.
reservations
Could you imagine
here
when
and-
you were younger what today would be like?
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine, like,
What's that?
right. I mean, you say what it's going to be like in 20 years. It's like, seems like No, everything's already been invented, but did you feel
We
like
didn't
that
look ahead.
then?
We
Yeah.
lived in the day.
Right.
We
That's what I
lived in
feel
the
like
day.
now. It's like,
We
well,
took
what else could there be?
whatever came.
Right.
We'll be telling stories how we had to wait for the internet, you know.
Yeah, right?
No television.
Now it's implanted in your brain.
That's right.
I remember before the rotary.
Yeah.
There was no television.
No television.
Operators.
All right, so when all the kids were little, right? There was no television, no iPad, no. So what did all the kids
Radio.
do when you were home all day?
You had a radio.
I was gonna say, how did you get
We
like a
had
moment's
one
peace if
radio
there was no
about this
TV?
big.
You did?
Send the kids off to like just go.
The whole family would sit in the kitchen near the black stove where it was warm. But see, if you listened to the radio, you could crochet. So it would make the hankies and things Christmas presents.
So a
for
lot of
her.
blankets.
Dad made a lot of hankies.
You should buy
Like if you had to get like chores done around the house and the kids were always underfoot, what did you do to make them?
You kick them
Put
out.
them to work.
Well, the kids around the house were
Yeah.
us.
No, I mean like all.
No, all
what
of
did
us.
you
You
do
just-
Well,
with-
we lived outside.
We went outside.
We lived outside.
Outside.
Came on after Mom rang We the came dog. back
The
for
only
lunch,
time
we
we
came
came
back.
home early is
Yeah.
when the police dragged us home.
But I mean when you were little. Like I can't just send Colby off to like go run the
Well-
On the pipes downstairs.
So I was like, I don't know what I do without
The
like
backyard.
TV when I have to make dinner.
Right.
Like that's what I mean. Like when they were too
'Cause
little
she
to do
had-
that, what
she
do you
had-
do when you have like a bunch
Right.
at once and no.
Because she had 3 in diapers.
Right. So say you had to make dinner and they're just like.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't even know what I would
Then she
do.
would get all dolled
No,
up before
when I
Dad
met
would come
her,
in. No
Yeah.
matter
I thought
what,
she
the
was
red
a
lipstick went on,
classic
Really?
high
lord.
heels.
Who did?
Yeah,
So
because
like all the mayhem of the day was
they
washed
owned the
away.
house in which they
Daddy's
lived.
home.
And,
And Banana was there to help.
and they
Yeah.
had an indoor
Did help.
toilet,
Yeah.
and she went to Woolworth and got some lipstick made up for her face.
For Mom?
Yeah, she went there.
Custom.
Custom.
Custom
They
color?
did the lipstick.
Really?
A custom color?
So I
No, it
thought,
was powder. It was powder, honey.
and I thought that was pretty classy. From Brooklyn, we didn't have such luxury.
Yeah.
Well, you were all excited because she knew how to cook on the honeymoon. She could put the tab in the margarine, turn it yellow.
Yeah, right. Well,
Imagine.
when they were young, the 3 little ones, you had Nana with you. So Nana was a
Yeah.
big help taking care of the little
She was
ones.
a big help, yeah.
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 Built
And
a
then-
And at Worcester Tech, during the summer, we went back and lived with Nana.
Yeah.
I just feel like I only have one and I feel like
Yeah, right.
I don't know what I would do without.
Well, I
We had a
think
built-in
because you don't
babysitter.
send them out, you know.
Well, I mean,
mean,
when
we
he's
just-
older,
we
like
just
he
played
has
out in the
neighbors
yard.
that he goes out and play
Right.
with, but I feel like
Yeah, she
Yeah.
made us play in
right
the
now.
Once you're
he's young.
underfoot. Well, there was a lot of yelling and get out of here and go read or do something,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, it wasn't. It
Was all blue
wasn't.
skies and daisies.
No.
So if you guys were to do it all over again,
Yeah.
what would you do differently?
Good question.
Good. question.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Come on. What would you do differently?
We
We
would
lived
have.
the perfect life.
I would
say
have lived the first 45 years
Your nose is
the
growing.
way I did. And the
You
next
would have been with that Marine,
The
Mom.
next 45, but it actually wasn't 45, because 2 years ago I was put in a coma
That's right.
for 4 days
Intensive care.
Yeah.
to get me out of pneumonia, which
Yeah.
should have killed me. Everybody died from pneumonia back then. And
That was the good old days.
yeah.
Now you don't die of pneumonia, usually.
You don't die of pneumonia?
No. You get rid
die
of
of
your
something
wigs,
else.
you have your beautiful curly hair, and you start
So
all
when-
over again.
When Joan Rivers died,
Yeah.
doing the same thing I did, being put in a coma.
Yeah.
When they brought me out, I lived. When they brought her out, she had a heart attack. and
Mm.
died.
Very close.
Right.
So.
And, but something changed in my mind, and suddenly I wanted to do everything my way.
That's right.
See, when she was in intensive care, I sat with her 12
Yeah,
hours a day.
you did. You did.
That wasn't her though. That was
6
the
in the
patient.
morning.
No, I didn't want her to wake up and find herself all alone.
Yeah, right, right.
He loves me, I think, more,
Yeah,
or shows it more, than when we first met.
yeah.
I mean, we were close.
Right. Well, you had too many kids by then.
But I couldn't put my hand on a knee like this.
Easy now, easy now.
It's not that kind of video.
He was such a gentleman. And he would go, are you all over 21?
Oh yeah.
He would go back to the hospital, and the guys would go, did you get in yet? Did you get in yet? And he'd say, no. Well, how do you know you're going to fit? They couldn't get over.
This is when he was in Fort Devens, I'm assuming.
You got
Virgins when we got
I had a set of files.
You had what?
A set of files
Oh, a set of files. Yeah. A set of files of what?
to make it fit.
Make what?
To make it fit, I had a set of files.
Go down to the grinder.
File it down.
File it down.
Not a filing cabinet.
You're bragging now.
Took me half an hour to get out of the bathroom the first night.
Oh, and the honeymoon.
Because I was given a sheer nightgown that you could see through. And when I think of today, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds.
The girls at the office one of the girls gave her a sheer nightie.
Yeah.
And Florence's response was, you can see right through this.
That was the point.
Here we all are.
But he knew he had a lady.
Huh?
You knew you had a lady and you still love me.
That's right.
And he kept coming back for more, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all here. He must have been doing something.
You did well.
Only 70 years ago.
Yeah,
I
I
feel like
know.
only in this family would we be having this discussion at a 70th anniversary party. Hallelujah! I love it.
But you always said you wouldn't have changed that.
What?
You know, compared to the way things are now, people living together and doing all that stuff that you
No.
like not knowing what you were doing.
No.
You had to learn
That was
together.
the way it was supposed to be.
Right.
If you were a good Catholic,
Yeah.
and I was trying to be a Catholic,
Right.
and
I'm still trying.
when I stopped being a Catholic is when I had 5 kids. That's the last two.
And I was unreligious.
You're right.
I went to the pastor and I said, I have 5 kids and I don't want any more. What can I do and still go to confession?
Imagine.
Because you weren't supposed to use any kind of
Contraceptive.
contraceptive, thank you. And he said, you have to send all God, you have to take all God sends you. I cried all the way home.
My husband's not a god.
So if I didn't take my own charge of my house, there'd be others.
Only one of your own.
I used to say to my Catholic girlfriends, I haven't been to confession in years because I use birth control. And they said, well, don't tell it in confession. What do you go to confession for? Yeah.
Tell it to me, I'll act as the priest.
And this nice man hasn't got a lot of religion.
Yeah.
I haven't got a what?
A
Lot.
of religion.
I don't have any.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Right on.
You're better than a lot of people who are full of religion.
Sure, I know. It's a crazy world. Crazy world.
Mm.
That's for sure.
Well, we're glad you're still in it. I know you don't feel like you want to be here, but everyone that knows that you're in your 90s and you're married for 70 years, they're all like, aren't you lucky? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and they don't have a card in the store that says happy 70th anniversary.
No, I had a,
Doesn't sell very well.
yeah,
Yeah. Big
yeah,
seller.
I got one in doctored.
yeah, I had a doctor mine too. They go up to 60.
Remember Linda and Frank Poocher, their card, which you got yesterday?
Yeah.
Had the dial, you could
Oh,
dial
okay.
in the.
And a
Oh, the
wheel.
number?
It went to 75.
Okay.
Yeah.
This?
Yeah, I wanted to stop the video. Can
Oh.
I stop it for a second? And then
Yeah.
we'll-
I had
Yeah.
the collar was a stiff collar and it had a button in the top.
Oh,
You had a, and I didn't have the button, so I got a number 10 screw and nut and put that
A nut and a bolt, and we're up in front of the altar.
Altar, right?
Yeah, right at
Even
the.
Frankenstein doesn't have that.
And all I could think of, these people behind me don't know he has a nut and a bolt instead of a brass button there. And I had all I could do to not burst out laughing.
Yeah.
That's a good
Leave it to
sign.
an engineer.
Yeah.
You knew who you were marrying, right?
No problem, he goes out in the shed, gets a nut and a bolt.
It was stainless jewelry.
we might not be legally married.
That's true.
No, but the picture of you on with the leash, Mom's holding a leash, and you were getting into the car
your collar.
Backyard, yeah.
in the
You're
backyard.
getting into the back of the
Always
car.
clowning.
That was my uncle was there.
Oh, your uncle.
That wasn't Skippy? Skippy's collar and leash?
It probably was Skippy, yeah.
See, I'm old enough, I remember Skippy.
You
The dog. That was the neighbor's dog. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. No, I mean, not then, not that day.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
But I remember Skippy.
But Skippy the dog.
And after that,
and
she
the
was,
Yeah.
She was very happy though, she said. She was
I
very
kept pushing her, say, you okay? And she didn't even know what I was talking about.
Yeah, I know
Who did
it.
I marry?
Yeah, that gave a
Well, now you know,
An
just one
unusual-
bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
blockage.
A blockage.
Joel blockage.
So what's
Yeah.
your 10-year plan, 20-year plan?
Yeah, we would-
Yeah, yeah.
No more kids.
There's 30 more years to
No
100.
more kids.
So, shall we go home now?
Well, we were taking care of our freshman year for, maybe you all know this. We got a job in he wanted to go to college, and when Jan came, we weren't sure we could go with a child.
My fault.
Right. So we went up, they said, well, just go to school and talk to them. So we went up to the dean, and he said, well, someone here is looking for a couple with a wife that
That's Worcester Polytech.
would take care of the boy's 7-year-old boy he was left with. He had a 9-year-old boy in a school for wayward kids, and his wife was divorcing him with a daughter, and 3 or something. And he said, look into it. So I saw the man, millionaire, lived in a beautiful home, top of the hill in Worcester, and he said, yeah, I'm looking for someone, but I don't want the baby. I don't want a baby. So he says, I'll call if I don't get it by the beginning of the year, I'll call you. So he called me. Nope, nobody came in without a baby. And so
He took
he
us
says,
anyway.
you can have the job, but I'm not going to feed your baby. I'm a millionaire. A bottle of milk and
Mm.
some baby food. Imagine. And so took the job. And so we lived in a mansion, 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and no pay, but we got fed and the roof over our head. So we were able to buy a car and drive a car
And you only had to do that for 1 week?
for 1 year.
Wow, a year. You're at that
1
house.
year. So,
That was Higgins.
Yeah.
and he had this son that was in this school, would come home on holidays, and he should have told me about the son, because he had a black man that was his cook and downstairs man, and he was my best friend.
Yeah.
It was my first time being close to a black person. Don't have them in Norwood, you know. And he became my best friend.
Percy.
But he said to me, don't leave Janice out of your sight when he's around.
Davis.
Now, Mr. Higgins should have told me.
Yeah, right. Well, he was probably denying his problems.
So anyway, we were there. Oh, I had to watch him. He wasn't bad with me or yelling or swearing or anything. He was okay, but he was cuckoo. If he was playing in his room and he needed a piece of cloth this big, so I see him in the linen closet gonna cut it out of a sheet. Just cut it the size he wanted, you know. Another time he wanted his plane flying over his fort. He had all those little soldiers. And he went in the basement, got a drill, and I saw him starting to drill the ceiling to put just for this one day for his plane to fly. I had to stop. No, that one I went down to Mr. Higgins and banged on his door and said, if you don't want a hole in your ceiling, you better come out right now. So that was a miserable year with him coming to the house and dealing with Mr. Higgins. And he was going to have a cocktail party. And he has all these cases of liquor being brought in his liquor cabinet. And he tells me when I go out shopping to get the nuts in the supermarket because they're 2 cents cheaper.
A millionaire.
I'm like, oh, boy, you know. So the next year, I said, I don't want to live in with rich people.
Yeah.
So we started to get an apartment, and my sister and I scrubbed it. It was filthy. And I was going to do anything legal, but not live in. And then this woman wanted me to babysit, and I babysat her kids. She had
A wealthy woman.
She had 4 of them then.
Not Anderson? This is before Anderson?
Mrs. Anderson.
Oh, this is Anderson.
Yeah. So I went and babysat for her, and she offered me the place she had over the garage.
Yep. I remember you washing dishes in the bathtub.
One room.
That was
So
a
for
few
2
years.
years, she had a crib. The crib was there. Dad's desk was there. The double bed was here. We had 1 closet, 1 bureau, and a 2-seater and a little table. The kitchen was the top of a landing, smaller than our bathroom.
On top of the refrigerator.
I'm talking about it had a refrigerator, a 3-burner stove that could only cook on 2 burners. If you put the 3rd burner on, you blew a fuse. So I used to play juggle. Heat it up here, keep it cool, warmer there, and whatever. And I made meat and potatoes and gravy and everything on that little burner.
And if she complained, I told her, it's better than a foxhole.
Yeah, true. No one's shooting
And
at
no
you.
one's shooting at you.
That's when she told you to shut up.
We lived there for 2 years and took care of 5 kids.
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
That's when I said.
And then you're like, this is a great idea. We should.
we should have 5 too.
I said, if anybody has 5 kids, they got a hole in their head. So well, I was told I couldn't have children. And she comes 10 days after we're married.
No,
10
months.
Month.
10 months.
Months.
10 months.
Months.
Month.
Well, 9 months.
Yeah, but I mean,
There's a
no,
difference.
I got pregnant 10
Oh,
days.
I'm sorry.
How did that happen?
That nightgown worked, I guess.
Huh?
That nightgown worked.
That nightgown worked.
It had a tear in it.
Can you imagine? 10 days and
Oh my God.
that was,
She thinks it's funny.
anyway, we got him educated.
Yeah.
I walked off that job because I couldn't stand the woman. So I went back to being the single girl working in an office. And the 4th year, he went up and spent the week up 5 days and come home on the weekends.
Slept in your car.
But I slept in the car for a month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I don't know whether you saw it, but when he got up to get his diploma, she was on my lap, sitting in the balcony, and I was crying.
And you were
And I
pregnant
said
with
to her,
Judy.
Yeah, pregnant with Judy.
We made it for Daddy. Daddy's an engineer.
I was an engineer before I went there.
I know.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Now I have a diploma.
Now an official one.
What I tell everybody, a college degree is just a tool.
Yeah.
But today, even those 2 guys you work for said to him, eat garbage, but go
Yeah.
and look into Worcester Tech if you have
Yeah.
a chance
But-
to go.
But I made the decision. They didn't make it for me.
No.
Mm.
So,
But
and I don't regret any of it.
But
It
the
means more when you do it the hard way.
Yeah, it does. When you have to suffer a little.
That
Value.
wealthy man in Worcester, the Higgins.
Yeah, Higgins. Carter.
He had a cook.
Person. Yep.
So Mom and I ate in the dining area, a big table, and Mr. Higgins sat at one end, and Florence sat at the other end, and Mom would step on the floor, and there was a switch under the floor, and the cook would come in and say, "Yes, ma'am."
Oh my
You didn't know
goodness.
he was stepping on
Correct.
her?
Wow.
Yeah, correct.
Let's step on it. Who
And she
knows?
wanted to
know.
know what's happening.
Wow. Ah,
And they had a 3-legged poodle. I remember the I don't remember the poodle's name. 3-legged poodle.
A poodle, yeah.
Oh, the dog.
Yeah, 3 legs.
The hell's a
Yeah.
poodle? Okay.
Oh.
She's like the dog.
So,
If he had only 2 legs, he had to drag ass.
we were fortunate. 3 years. We had a nice apartment in Dedham
Yeah.
with
It's a project.
with the project.
Yeah,
Like
Veterans Road.
$139 a month.
I think it was
$139.
$26 a month.
Oh, 26.
$26
Yeah.
yeah,
Since I
imagine.
got a job, I was
But
disqualified.
he was.
Can't even
he
rent
got
to the
a job
grocery for
right
that.
out of college, and he was making more than what we was paying legally for the rent. So we had to go buy a house.
Right, no.
Oh.
And the house we wanted was 16.5. We limited it to 12.5, and it was 16.5, $4,000.
Mm. And you didn't think you could do it.
Yeah, and we were nervous. And he was the
Imagine
one
that.
that said, "I'm going to be getting raises and things, you know." So we liked the house that we bought. You know.
So the monthly expense for housing went from $26 to 117.
Wow.
Oh, when you were in Norway?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
But they were all
Wow.
sitting down.
Yeah, I know.
We bought our house
Less than my
16.5
Do we need to leave?
and
Oh, yeah,
put
go ahead.
$1,000
You can walk.
down.
Oh, go right ahead.
yeah, go
Go
ahead.
right
So
ahead.
we had a mortgage, 15.5, and had it for 30 years.
Wow.
We paid the mortgage off in 1985.
Wow, yeah, I remember
like
that.
a party and
Yeah.
like burned.
Yeah, we
I
have a
remember
mor-
that.
Yeah.
I remember
We have a mortgage burning party.
Mortgage
Nobody does
burning.
that.
I remember that party.
Because no one gets to burn their mortgage. It's still remortgaging and remortgaging.
But I'm from the old school, and I get mad at these women on TV taking all the jobs from the men.
Bothers you too,
And I say sometimes when they Donald this and Donald that, go home and bake your kids some cookies. I get so mad because I'm buried with the idea that the man should be the head of the house.
Why didn't you tell me that?
How do you think? How do you think I survived? 70, 90 years? No, yeah, 70 years.
Yeah.
How do you think I survived letting you be boss for 70 years?
Well, you almost didn't there for a
We
while.
didn't have any boss.
Right.
We shared.
Why
Well,
do
sort
I
of.
still have one bathroom? And visit them.
What?
And visit them for a
New
vacation.
York?
Yep.
See, it's
And
not
they
a bed
had
of
8
roses.
people in the house.
Steinbeck wrote a book on
So
that, didn't
here we had
16.
16 people and one
Bathroom.
he? That I can't
And
believe.
guess what?
What?
When they needed a vacation, they came to us. And they brought 8 people.
But nobody had diarrhea.
And
We had a
they
good
left
time.
Your
We
mother
all
with
remember
me
it
for
being
a
fun.
week. And people say I look beautiful. You have no idea what I put through living with you.
Those two, we can't afford a divorce now.
Can you get her some more bubbly? I think it wore off.
We gotta send her back to her happy place.
I'm just trying to tell you, it looks like a rosy picture.
Yeah, it's not.
I still believe the man should be the head of the house.
Well, we all had a
But
good
you
time
almost
growing up.
can't nowadays. Not with a house, a normal house that's $500,000. You can't anymore. You just
$1
can't do it
million
if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It has
Takes
to
two
be two
salaries.
salaries. It takes almost 3. Now, just to
Yeah,
make ends
no,
meet. The way
I don't
food
en-
and
I don't
cars
envy
and
your life.
yeah,
No.
not easy.
No,
Randy,
Even
what's
it-
the Z? I'm
So
sorry.
what would you change?
nothing.
Okay, what are you complaining about?
I wasn't complaining.
No, it's just a
I
different
might
life.
raise my voice a
It's
little.
just a different life. Well, at least we finally have a checking account for you.
What?
At least we finally have a checking account for
Yeah.
you. You know. And a charge card too with your name on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It only took 70 years.
But you know what's funny?
Not bad.
Being raised that way with, 8 people in one bathroom. At Judy's the other night, she's got 2. I was going to take a shower and I announced, anyone got to go?
Yeah.
That was what you did.
Yeah.
I know you got to go, then you go take a shower.
Hey, the captain's here with our boat, so we gotta say.